The general consensus on Tokyo Godfather is that it's everyone's least favorite Satoshi Kon film. But it's not a bad movie. Sure, it's the least visually appealing, but what it lacks in artistic complexity, it gains in character development. Each of Kon's films are meant to be valued by a different merit than the others. Tokyo Godfather just happens to be that movie that's good just because of the characters alone. I was always reluctant to watch this movie because I knew it would be really sad, and it is, but it manages to balance out the drama with elements of light-hearted comedy as these characters come together and nag and tease and fight with each other. It's almost as if they're a family of their own, out on the streets having to fend for themselves when this baby drops into their lap as their journey begins. This baby is the catalyst for everything that happens next, as they argue over whether or not they should keep it, which obviously they shouldn't because they're homeless, is not going to work out so well, or if they should track down the family and return the baby. This kicks off their adventure as they chase through the streets of Tokyo on Christmas Eve, meeting a few friends and getting into a lot of trouble. Everything that happens in this movie is really coincidental, but I appreciated the fact that this didn't turn out to be one of these corny Christmas miracle movies. In fact, while these characters reveal bits about the past that they left behind, they're still damaged, they're still broken, and they're still suffering from these problems. Being as vague as possible to not spoil you on anything, these characters gain their development on their past, on their family, on the life that they left behind, and Hannah, all of hers is gone. She really has nothing left to go back to, and this really makes me feel the worst for her because I know that her problems are the worst. While Hannah is all alone, this doesn't stop her from being the life of the trio, which kind of made me feel even bad for her to see her soldiering on like that, having such great spirits in spite of her problems. And on a side note, the character of Hannah actually gets the least physical development out of all of the other characters here, and you really have to pay attention to some of the details as she's talking about her past and piece it together to really understand where she's coming from, because she doesn't come right out and say some of these things. I've seen some reviews call this movie hilarious, and while it is pretty funny at times, there were some parts that were so sad that it was almost hard to watch. First of all, these characters are homeless. I've never been homeless, and I never want to be homeless, but I can tell you that it's not a cakewalk. It's miserable. Plus, you have these teenagers that were going around beating up the homeless, and you had this old man that was already on his deathbed when these teenagers drag him out and beat him in the streets. It is a pretty sad movie, but I don't think it should be viewed as just being a comedy or just a drama, because both halves are balanced equally. Now, as for the overall presentation, the animation, it's alright. For 2003, this looked good, but from Satoshi Kon and Madhouse, I expect great. 2 years prior to this, they worked on Millennium Actress, and while Tokyo Godfathers has a better quality of animation to it, the general art is a bit more simplistic than we saw in Millennium Actress. However, in the defense of Tokyo Godfather, the story is so down to earth that it doesn't need the same visual effects as their previous movies had. The soundtrack itself is pretty good. It's appropriate for the movie, but it's nothing that I'd want to listen to on its own. Sounding mostly orchestral with a few Christmas-themed songs, a few somber songs for the sad moments, and a few wacky songs for the chase scenes and all of the comedic moments. As far as the voice acting goes, I've only watched this with the Japanese audio, and they did a great job of acting out these characters. I know there's an English dub, but I haven't seen it yet to be able to tell you which one to watch. Overall, the plot of this movie is complete chaos. There's so many coincidental plot points that it almost feels convoluted, but in the grand scheme of things, each of these moments have actual meaning and reason to be there that spark character development or development of the overall plot. As a viewer who really feels for these characters, I wish I could tweet bits and pieces about the ending, but as a reviewer, I can really appreciate the path that they took because it increases the grip of the story. My overall score of Tokyo Godfathers is a 9 out of 10. If you come into this movie knowing the reputation of those who created it, you might not like it as much. It's not a psychological thriller or mystery. It's not a whimsical view of history. It's not a visual masterpiece, but the story that's told here doesn't need it to be. So let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are about Tokyo Godfather. Thanks in advance for all your support with your likes and your comments, and I'll see you next time.